Okay, hello class. Today is Monday, October 5th. This is an ed puzzle about generic and specific intervals, specifically major and minor seconds. So hopefully you're in class today and you were able to get the lecture or get the idea of what major and minor intervals are, because we're just going to quickly review them again and then go into the assignment. If you weren't in class today, or if your audio cut out or whatever, please look for the recording of class that will have that information in it. So really quickly, just remembering, when we're talking about major and minor intervals, I should say, when we're talking about generic intervals, we're not talking about pitch. So we're not talking about how high or low something is. We're only talking about their staff position and the distance between them based on that staff position. So when we're looking at this particular example, let's just say, we have an F here and a G here, right? Because it's an F to a G, because it's one letter apart, we move up one, it becomes a second, right? If it was an F and an F, it'd be a first because they're on the same plane. Because their staff position is one away, it becomes a second. So just a little mental memory there. So when talking about generic intervals, we use first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. So don't think about the quality of something, whether it's major, minor, perfect diminished, or like any of that stuff. It's just how far away is this note. When we talk about specific intervals, they specifically deal with the quality of the interval. So as I turn my piano, here it is on. They talk about something's minor, if something's major, something's diminished, right? And they deal with how the interval actually sounds, but its quality is based on the distance. So this is where half steps come into play. So there are four qualities of interval. Sorry, we use five descriptors, not four. Major, minor, perfect, augmented, and diminished. And just a reminder that for 90% of our music, we'll be focusing on major, minor, and perfect intervals. So no need to worry about the rest of that for the moment. So major and minor second. So just a reminder, the minor second is one half step away. That means one piano key to another, or half step as far as pitch. So whether we're going to a white to a black key, a black to a white key, or a white key to a white key, it's that JAWS interval. It's that interval there. So it must be written as a second. So it has to be, so for instance, C to C sharp would not work because the distance would be, I apologize, this bottom example is covered because of my screen. For example, C to C sharp, while being a half step apart, right, here's C, here's C sharp. Although they're a half step apart, because they're both written as a C, they're a first, so they don't work as a minor second, even though they sound the same. Versus if we were C to D flat, here's C to D flat, because they are written, because it's written as a second, we would call it a minor second. And obviously, melodically, we think the JAWS theme. So a few questions for you, and hopefully you can answer them based on what it says. Question number one. Okay. Question number two. Let's hold the peace sign up here a little bit. Question number three. Okay. Question number four. Okay. Moving on from there, we have our major second. A major second is the distance of two half steps, so it's twice as big as a minor second. It also must be written as a second. We're talking about staff positions, we're talking about generic intervals. It has to be written as a second. An example would be E to F. E to F fulfills the quality of being a second, right? Because it's E to F in staff position, but it's only a half step apart because it's a white key to a white key, right? So we would need to write E to F sharp, E to F sharp. That would be our major second, right? Here's a major second. Here's a minor second. Major second. Minor second. So it needs to be 2 half steps apart. The thought for that is the Sports Center theme. So that's the little musical idea that you get in your head. So we have the minor second and the major second. So question number 1. Question number 2. Question number 3. And question number 4. Beautiful, thank you. Okay, we're just going to do a few examples. I'm going to ask you whether it's a major second or a minor second, give you a second to respond, and then we'll go back into the video. Or I'll go into explanation of why it is what it is. So here we have this particular example. If you need to remember what the lines and spaces are for treble clef, because I think this should be all in treble clef. Yeah, it is. We have E, G, B, D, F. Every good boy deserves fudge. And then for the spaces, we have F, A, C, E. So if you have E here, you can think about what this space is. So take a second, and we'll see if you can get this first example done. Question starts now. Okay, so this is a major second. And the reason we know it's a major second is because in between our notes, F and G, we have an F sharp. So for instance, between E and F, there's not an F sharp, there's not an E sharp that fits in between. There is a key in between. So we go from F to F sharp to G. So that's 2 half steps away, which would make it a major second. Our next example here, again, thinking about this actually, if you were just paying attention to the previous question, I kind of gave you the answer. This was one of our examples during our presentation. So I'll give you a second to see if you can do question number 2. Okay, so again, we have a major second here. The reasoning is, right, we think about our musical alphabet, A sharp, B, C. There are 2 spots. There are 2 spots where there's not a black key in between. So it's A sharp, B, C. So that's one of those spots. C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, back to A. So this is one of those examples. We have E to F here, but it's actually an F sharp. So E to F would be a half step apart. And then E to F sharp would be 2 half steps apart, right? Because we go from E to F and F to F sharp. So that becomes a major second. Example number 3. So we have 2 notes. We have a flat, which we haven't done too much with. Again, just a reminder, when we're talking about flats and sharps, if there wasn't a flat here, right, I'm covering up my screen and my face, but it doesn't actually work for you. If this flat wasn't here, we would have an F to a G, right? We already had this example on its normal form. So an F to a G. A flat lowers that note by a half step. So it makes the distance between these 2 notes closer rather than farther apart, right? Right now, these notes are F and G. And that G flat makes it F to G flat, right? If we have a flat, we're talking about interval, generally it makes the distance smaller because it's taking that note down, right? So right now we have an F to a G flat. So take a second. Is that a major second or a minor second? Okay, it is a minor second. The reason is it is a half step apart. The reason it is a second is because it's F to G flat. Someone could be thinking, why is it not F to F sharp? Right? It's the same sound. Here's F to G flat. Here's F to F sharp. A reminder, when one note can be written 2 ways, as in F sharp and G flat, we call that end harmonic, because depending on how we're writing the music, we change, we use a particular vowel, right, or a particular note. And this is one of those examples. The reason we can't say F to F sharp is that would be a first, right? We wanted to write a minor second. So it has to be one letter away, right? F goes to G, so F to G flat. If we wrote F to G sharp, it wouldn't be it would be 1/2 step away, so it couldn't be a minor second. So minor second. Okay, example number 4. Taking a second to remind ourselves the difference between the lines and the spaces for treble clef. Remember, treble clef were E, G, B, D, F, so every good boy deserves fudge for the lines, and we are face, F, A, C, E. So take a second to remind yourself of what these two notes are, and then think about what might be in between them. So, number 4. Beautiful. Okay, this is a major second. We have a C sharp / D flat, right? We have that note in between. So we'd go C, C sharp, D flat, D. So boom, 1/2 step, 2/2 steps. We're 2/2 steps away. Major second. We have. My sound is gone. Last example here. Oh wait, not this example. We already had this example. I got one wrong. Okay. Last example here. Remind yourself lines and spaces. Think about the distance between those two notes. And question number 5. Okay. We have a minor second. Reasoning. A, B, in between A and B, we have A sharp and B flat, right? We have that note in between, that key in between. So A to B flat is only 1/2 step. If we want to get to A to B, A goes to B flat, goes to B natural. So it goes up 2/2 steps. So good to go, okay? So that was our Ed puzzle on major and minor seconds. We're just going to continue to add more intervals as time goes along, but you know the basics of how to read intervals. So congratulations. Have a wonderful day.